Forward. Halt. Left. 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 Right. Your left. 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 Right. Down, down. Down, down.
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit the news. No clue what they were about to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Glenn Baker. It is the Finish This Fight Hour, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. This is not a normal show, y'all. Today, the Supreme Court has injected itself directly into the election battlefield, and the political class is already scrambling to control the narrative. Listen, while the media is going to be busy spinning and downplaying what's just happened, it's going to be funny to watch. The real legal and political warfare is breaking out. California is California, but it's now the ground zero for mail-in ballots, election control, lawfare, and power. This is not abstract issues anymore. This is active weapons being used in real time. Today, you're going to hear from some people who are not just commentators, not professional talking heads, but people that are actually in this fight. My first guest is Chris Bish. She's a congressional candidate. She's filed a lawsuit against Eric Swalwell, who is now running for governor of California. That alone should tell you how serious and how ugly this is becoming. Joining us as well is Tim Dillard, founder of Freedom Place. He's running a few minutes late, but he'll be here, and we'll bring him in. He understands that politics is downstream from power. Power is downstream from who controls the systems. Now, let me be very clear about something. If you control elections, you control this country, and that's what's happening, and that's what this fight's really about. So the Supreme Court, what it did today, just escalated this war, y'all. This isn't about left versus right. It's not about Democrats against Republicans. This is about whether the American people will be allowed to choose their own leaders at all, or even if we have been allowed to choose up to this point in the last several. So if you're watching this live, I want you to do me a favor, share this right now. Share it to everybody. People need to understand what's happening and get involved before it's too late, because this is not a drill, y'all. This is happening in real time. So let me introduce to you, first of all, my friend Chris Bish. Chris, welcome to the show, lady. How you doing, girl?
I am doing wonderful. I'm going to first let everybody know that noise in the outside. That's my future son-in-law doing some chores around here. So we'll give James a big hey for being.
We're gonna have some grace for him. If it gets too noisy, though, I might have to mute your mic occasionally.
Okay, that's fine.
And really makes me feel good that I have that power over a congressional candidate, that I can just mute her mic if I don't like the noise that's going on.
You know, my husband would love to have that power every once in a while, the ability to just mute my mouth.
You know, I know. I've met your husband. Your husband has got hands like hams, and he's a big old boy. I'm going to tell you right now. Chris, it's been a while since we spent some real time together. Gosh, I think it's probably was, 21 or 2 when I came to Sacramento?
Yes, it was 22.
Yeah, and you had a chance to show me around. You're part of the state of California. We saw some beautiful things. We saw some very ugly things. I was looking for that video that we took of your homeless encampment there, and I guess that's still happening.
It's really bad. And I'm going to tell you, everything good and beautiful here is created by God. All of the ugly, distasteful, just heartbreaking things were created by politicians.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me add to the stage my other friend. I got two friends today. This young man is the founder of Freedom Place. He is a not a talking head. Well, he is a talking head, but not the kind you're thinking about. Good friend of mine. Say hello to Tim Dillard. Hey, Tim.
There you are.
Hi,
Hello,
Tim.
Christine from the
California.
The communist country of California.
Hey, we all got to get rescued. I'm here to save the day. I even got myself a bat signal. It's actually a Bish signal. That should be ready sometime tonight. And we're going to try it out on the Thule fog and see if we can get some discussion and some excitement about my campaign on these foggy valley floor.
Chris, you got to hold it. Do you have that picture on your phone? Hold that up. I want to see.
Okay, it's kind of hard to see on the phone, but I'll hold it
up. Chris Bish.
I love
Check it out, y'all. The Bish signal.
The Bish signal.
This is Bat Bish, is what it is. It's Bat Bish. Guys, let's get started. Because Tim, you just joined us. You don't really probably even know the stuff that's happened today. I tried to get in touch with you. You're a busy man. You've been 100 miles an hour, haven't you?
Not. I'm just very important, and I'm such a big, I'm kind of a big deal, Glenn. That's what
I was saying.
Yeah,
thank you for hanging out with those peasants.
Yeah, I like to stay in touch with the common man, and in this case, woman. If that's your gender, if that's how you're identifying today, I don't want to assume anything, because I don't know what a man is or what a woman is, which should qualify me for the Supreme Court, I guess. Good Lord.
Well, my last name is Bish. That's what I identify as.
And she's a bitch. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I looked at you. He showed me about you yesterday. I looked up your website and everything. I want to help as soon as we can. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So speaking of the Supreme Court, Chris, you and I spoke this morning, kind of getting updated for the show today. Tell us what's going on. What just happened that I don't think anybody's heard about. Ladies and gentlemen, Finish This Fight is putting this out to the world first.
No, this is putting gloves on this fight. So the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 ruling, 5-2 ruling. 7-2. Anyhow, so there were two dissents, but what it was a ruling for a congressman, long day, a congressman out of Illinois, Representative Bost. And in 2022, he had sued the state of Illinois over mail-in ballots. And, I've been in those lawsuits myself, and we kind of get tied up once we get to the, in my case, the Ninth Circuit. And they come up with every reason they can to shoot these cases down. But this ruling out of the Supreme Court was amazing. And it said, I'm paraphrasing, that candidates like me, that we have standing to challenge mail-in ballots, but it can't be sour grapes. It can't be after the election or after the ballots have been sent out. And it's saying that we, as candidates or even incumbents, that we can incur real damages, that not only our campaigns, but financially, we continue to work after Election Day. Now, the Constitution has said that we have a single election day, but in states like Illinois and of course, California, they have mail-in ballots. And the rule here is the ballots have to be postmarked by Election Day. And what that does is it creates two different classes of voters. So where if you're lined up to vote in person, you have to be in line by 8 p.m. But if you're mailing in your ballot, you have to have it postmarked by midnight. So at that point, they're creating two different classes of voters. And in the case of California, we're 13, 14 days out for them to even receive the ballots. And then at that point, they take another 2, 3, 4 weeks to go through and count the ballots. So there's a whole lot of problems, but this case goes about mailing the ballots out and the harm that it does to candidates. So I have I've been hard at work, put together an outline to preemptively file a lawsuit in California in the Ninth Circuit court here, challenging the mail-in ballots. And I've used the verbiage from the Boast case in Illinois, and saying that doing this puts me at a disadvantage. It puts me past election day. It has me still campaigning, still fundraising if I have to appeal, sometimes 2 and 3 weeks after the election. And it's unconstitutional. So this way it's not sour grapes. We're not complaining about all of the problems. And I'm not even saying I want to stop mail-in ballots. All I'm saying is, instead of it being a postmark date, I would like the court in the Ninth Circuit to say it's a receive by date.
Right.
That's it. It's a receive by date.
Chris, so people understand who you are. You're running for Congress in California, Sacramento. What district is it? 6? District 6?
It is the 6th congressional district, and under Prop 50, the unconstitutional redistricting of California, I'm actually in a better shape. I'm not a Democrat, but hey, those guys helped me out with their lies and backstabbing. But I digress. Right. So it includes parts of Sacramento County, Yolo County, You Only Live Once County,
right,
and Placer County. So it improved my chances of winning this race. And the incumbent, who was Ami Berra, he's a particularly yummy kind of Democrat.
Yeah, we know about him.
Yeah, he was Planned Parenthood's legislator of the year, and he loves to run around and talk about killing babies. And so we keep going. He left my district to run against a neighboring district, a representative by the name of Kevin Kiley. And Kevin Kiley's been a fly in Gavin Newsom's ointment, almost as bad as me. So Ami Berra left to take on Kevin, leaving my district without an incumbent for the first time in 20 years. And I've got every Democrat you could think of getting in this race. And so they're splitting their vote. I'm excited. I'll tell you about some of the other things that I'm doing here. But we got ourselves a race. So they may be going after Kevin, and I think he can win his race, even with them cheating. And we can pick up seats. Actually, looking at the map across California, we may have to sacrifice 5 seats, which is what the Democrats want. But in the way they had to redo those districts, I think we could pick up 9.
Well, and the reason I bring that up is because I want the folks to understand you're a real estate professional running for Congress. Yep. You're not an attorney, but you have some expertise. Because just a few years ago, you were the one that was one of the ones that was in charge of suing Gavin Newsom.
I was. I've actually had a couple lawsuits for the unconstitutional lockdown and, squashing our First Amendment rights and, closing down churches, but leaving up strip clubs and dispensaries, that kind of thing. Yep. Sued him over that.
So that's why I'm excited to have you on. Tim, what are your thoughts on what you just talked about? That we've got a positive response from the Supreme Court against the mail-in ballots and being counted.
I'd seen that, and I think it was Sotomayor and Ketanji Jackson predictably were the only 2 that voted against it. So
correct.
People like you, Christine, are amazing to me. To just jump out of a comfortable life as a real estate agent in California and go fight this battle. So you're the kind of person we like to hook up with. We got a lot of people with us and the various things that we're doing. And so I want to make sure that we get a chance to meet after this and talk a little bit. But I have some background in that world, and I won't go into that now. But so this is how we win. We have the power is going to be in the people. It's not going to be in DC. It's going to come from tens and then hundreds and then thousands of Christines and only one Glenn, because that's the only one we can stand there. and they can barely handle one of me. So
to the moon.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not just a real estate agent. I've been doing this since 2003. but I've been in the mortgage industry. And before that, I was in a law firm for 10 years. I was an in-house investigator. I was a bill collector. I repossessed cars.
Oh my God, you're just a fighter. God,
Gift
you're just a
tracer.
fighter.
I'm telling you, there is of all the things, repossessing cars was the most fun. Helping some bounty hunters, that'll get your adrenaline going. Stealing a car gets your adrenaline going. Chasing bad guys, I've only did that a couple times, but it gets your adrenaline going. I am telling you, politics is a blood sport, and everything else I have done has been training for this. This is
I can tell. I can tell. Yeah. Well, we stopped. We're in what's called the fourth turning. Are you familiar with that book?
No.
And that, so all of society works off of 4 phases, which you've probably heard this phrase. Great men make good times make weak men make hard times make great men. And we're in that fourth turning. And if you go look at it, it's about 80 years. If you go back from 2020, 80 years, you're where? 1940. If you go back 80 years, you're where? 1860. If you go back 80 years, you're at 1780. Wow.
Yes, we are in the rising of the alpha male, and it's
correct. That's correct.
Well, Chris, how do you identify? Do you identify as an alpha female?
Oh, she's an alpha female. She don't have to identify. She's
Mama Bear.
She's alpha female.
If I was going to identify anything, I'd be back in a size 1, probably about 6 inches taller.
No, we can't talk about that.
You and my wife in the same room would suck all the oxygen out of it in about 2 seconds, I tell you. So I married a green-eyed, red-headed Italian bombshell. And so.
Oh, well, the blonde is made up.
Oh, well, she's blonde now. She bait and switched me pretty quickly. I fell for the strawberry blonde before I knew it was just blonde. So, but she'd already won.
Chris, you've been in this battle a time or two in the legal world as well. In the political legal world, let's say that. You've done some other stuff before that.
Yes.
You're getting ready to file again, it says, with the Ninth Circuit. What are your expectations? What do you think is going to take place there?
Honestly, I'm hoping, it's going to depend on the attorney that I can get to pick up this case and their legal expertise, is that we need to make sure that when we do this, we keep it laser focused. And again, it's not trying to end mail-in ballots. It's trying to make sure that the receipt of those mail-in ballots is constitutional. And this is baby steps. And conservatives, we don't do well with baby steps. Mm-hmm. We want it all fixed, and we want it all fixed right now. And it's candidates and programs like this that get us used to telling people gratification is not instant. Instant gratification is fattening and poisonous. Mm-hmm. Okay, anything worth having. We were asleep at the wheel while all this was going on. All of us, conservatives, some of us were speaking up, but we weren't speaking up loud enough and forceful enough. And we allowed this cancer to grow, especially in California and New York, and it's just moving inward. So, it takes time. You got to crawl before you walk. So we're in those little crawling stages right here. We're going to fix our elections and with Donald Trump, and we need to hold on to the House of Representatives and, of course, legislation. We have to take some playbooks out of the Democrats, but we've got to be very careful and incremental. You ask for everything, you lose. You ask for one thing reasonable. And we're going to start with those mail-in ballots that they were received. And now we have court precedents to do this. I'm excited.
I think that's a very fair statement, but I also think, and I'm in agreement with you. It may not sound like I am, but I'm in agreement with you. The challenge and the reason that we are where we are is because of complacency and comfort. Yes. My whole life, we're all similar in age, except for Tim, he's old. But we all kind of grew up in the same era, where you walk out the door and you could just smell freedom. Yeah. It just was. We didn't worry about being abducted and raped as children. Yeah. I mean, it happened occasionally, but that wasn't a worry. We played outside till the lights came on, and we went home with that old dirt ring,
Yep, be home by the lights turning on.
Yeah, it was just a different time, which was great. But Tim, that goes back again to what you said: hard times create strong men. Well, we're a product of weak men that have created bad times.
Did you see Besant, the Treasury Secretary, yesterday at Davos with Gavin Newsom sitting in the crowd, calling him, what's the American Psycho's name? I forget his name, but he likened him to that movie American Psycho that was, and he called him that while he was sitting there, and cameras cut to him, and
Newsom called him that, or he called Newsom?
No, Besant in his speech to Davos called Newsom while he was sitting there essentially American Psycho.
See, I'm surprised that kind of strength came from anybody other than just the few that I know about.
So what most people don't realize is the reason why Newsom went to China is because the premier of China, Xi, he pretty much runs the Democrat Party in America. Mm-hmm. And Newsom was paying off to get the next presidential nomination for the Democrats, and he's going to get it. And then you saw something unprecedented as the chairman of the CCP, Xi, then does a return visit to California where they clean up all of San Francisco all of a sudden, and he pays the return visit, which is his blessing of Newsom to be the next candidate for the Democrats for president. And if you saw him yesterday at Davos, which I encourage you to do, all he's got, his platform right now is we have to stop bending the knee to Trump. Everybody's bending the knee to Trump. His platform. And he has nothing to say, nothing to do. But it's communism, and that's what we're really fighting.
Well, that's the entire platform of the entire Democratic Party right now, though.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's purely out in the open now. And what did Mondami say? I want to get rid of this rugged individualism. Well, that's all the result of what we let happen, what Christine was saying. We let it happen. It's happened on our watch. But it began gradually. You know, Stalin said the only purpose of socialism is communism. Socialism is the gradual move of whole societies into communism, which Solzhenitsyn called the political embodiment of Satan. And so that's what we're fighting, the most evil thing you can think of to fight. And in California, I had a friend as the COVID stuff started, she got out of Canada and moved to California. And this is a single mom, and she escaped. She had to escape Canada at that point. Lands in California thinking it's going to be a lot freer. Than it was worse, she said. It was worse. So she took her child, a single mom, and she moves to communist Nicaragua and said it's so much more freer than California and Canada. You can't believe it. She said the only thing that's there, she said, first of all, there's food everywhere. Just bananas and oranges and stuff just falling out of trees everywhere.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. You just walk down the street and get food. And then she said that if you go into Managua, the big city, the cops will stop you about every block or two to check your papers because they know you're not from there. And then you learn that they're hungry and you just go, what do you need? And she said, they almost always say, I need a taco. And you just buy them a taco. But she said, other than that, it's the freest place you can imagine. But we've been told that communist Nicaragua is this very communistic stuff. It's nothing compared to what's going on. Virginia is gone. Now, did y'all see what just happened in Virginia over the last few days? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They're taxing anything that moves. They have taxes just on white people that they've proposed. Yeah. So, well, I'm telling you, and you're in California, and it's as bad or worse there in places, I assume.
Well, what we found in California and what this cheerleader out in Virginia is going to find out is they will throw everything out. They'll come up with all these crazy laws, and as they are litigated, all that stuff, it just gets overruled. The problem is they don't care whether it's unconstitutional. What they're doing is because the mission is to do as much damage, demoralize and demean people as much as you can.
Take away hope.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, to make you hopeless. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the SIP, the whole point of doing everything out in the open where you know they're lying. That's another famous line from Social Needs.
Schools, this is what they're doing to schools. Same thing that, Castro did.
Yeah.
Well, and that comes back to the point that I was making. And Chris, you talked about, picking something and realizing we need to move slowly, and it's a slow race. It's not a sprint. And I'm proud of you for that. And when you and I met, I think I felt differently. We were just talking about breathing freedom when we were children, but the challenge of that is we really weren't breathing freedom. We were breathing the form of freedom that they wanted us to think we had. And now all of that is being exposed, because had we had that freedom, we couldn't be in the situation that we are right now. And the great news is, Chris, when you and I met, we had some pretty strong, long conversations. We got to know each other, and we both kind of felt like we were on an island alone sometimes. The great news is I don't see that anymore. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of Chris Bish and Tim Dillards, and now there's only one Glenn Baker. You're right, Tim. But we're rising up, and we're doing the thing that God has called us to do. And Chris, you're a warrior. I described you to Tim yesterday.
Yeah.
You're a warrior.
Yeah.
Tim is a warrior on a different battlefield, but one that's just as important. Tim is the founder of Freedom Place, that is a financial. Dude, I'm not even going to explain it, Tim. Explain it in an abbreviated version.
Well, we've invented a new technology that changes the way markets work, especially the buying and selling, not of stocks, but of goods, so that businesses only have to pay for sales from now on. And when they pay for sales, they're in a bidding war, and it's just they offer up rebates. So they win position the same way they do now, except the money comes after the sale instead of before it. So we take all the risk out of that. So we destroy the current customer acquisition system with that. But then what we did is we asked a question that nobody's asked is, well, what if all that money, cash back, rebates, all that stuff, why does it have to go to the buyer? And we went, well, if it skips over the buyer and you viralize it to the people that are connected to the buyer, you actually create more sales for the business. So the business has no risk. They're in a bidding war to pay people more money. The whole system, the whole customer acquisition system is so corrupt and broken, and it was built for a disconnected world. We're all connected now. Each of us live inside of thousands of emails and phones and databases and social media threads. And we found a way to activate that on the behalf of every single human being who signs up for free and just passes it. And that's all you do. And we changed the rules of buying and selling. And that's the biggest lie of all, which is the golden rule. Because we were all taught the golden rule is he who has the gold makes the rules. Yep. And that's a lie. It's just like America won the Revolutionary War. That was a lie. That's a lie. The golden rule is actually he who makes the rules gets the gold. And so when you have the gold, you don't want to have to work anymore. So then you propagate, I have the gold, so I make the rules, which you get to do that until somebody changes the rules on you. And that's all we're doing with that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it is. So we're getting close to launching. It's been quite a battle. And
I'm excited.
Yeah, we've been attacked. And then in the middle of all that, Christine, we had some plans for down the road, and we got rerouted. And our guys have now been going in and out of Mar-a-Lago, and we've got the attention of all the people around Trump. And we're doing a thing called 2 for America, which is just getting the whole world together to pray for 2 minutes for America. And that's beginning to take on new life. And we're getting ready to meet with Glenn Beck up in Dallas to do a fundraiser up there. And all of that is leading to what we call the American Legacy Park, which is we're in the process. We've got the land. And we're designing over 100 statues, all 77 foot tall, from Columbus through to Charlie Kirk. And we're going to recapture all these monuments and statues that have been taken out of the public square. And we're going to put that in what's called the American Legacy Park in Texas. So, but the Freedom Place project moves.
So cool.
Yeah, Freedom Place moves the money out of their system. The 2 for America is a prayer movement, but it's not even a moment. It's just a moment. And that's actually spread to Muslim countries. And I mean, I've got a guy flying in from Turkey to meet me in Oklahoma here next week on that. He's already spread it to all the Christian pastors throughout the Middle East, of which there's a lot. But he lives in a part of Turkey. His name's Pastor Larry Mills. He lives in a part of Turkey. Guess I can say this. He lives in a part of Turkey where the red lights blink, kill the Jews, kill the Jews, kill the Jews. The red lights blink that. And they've gone down to 5. Now, Turkey was 100% Christian. It's now, there's only 5,000 Christians left in Turkey. There's about 100 million people. They're down to 5,000 Christians.
Wow.
And he's staying there fighting that battle. So this is actually giving him a weapon to spread to all the Christians, which he's already done in Turkey. And there's a lot to it, what I'm telling you, but he spreads that. Now it's spread to all the good Muslims that are there. And they're going, well, we want to pray for America too. We don't want to kill each other. We want to have peaceful coexistence, of which most of them are that way. They've just made sure to take all the ones that aren't that way and bring them to America. And,
ship them here. Well, that's how they.
Well, that was the plan, right? That was the plan. Bomb them into anger, and then it was a written plan. I read it in 2008, and it was called. And it said that they would then export the terror to the West, and so that's what they've done. They just bombed them to pieces, and then said, "Okay, let's get out of here, and y'all all go to the West." And I don't know how you get Europe back. I don't see Europe as salvageable. I think I was watching another one of the guys at Davos today who's saying the Middle East countries are promoting free speech and freedom like we've never seen. The European countries, Australia and Canada, are just shutting down free speech at every turn.
Well, again, we'll go back to what you said earlier. He who makes the rules controls the goal. You're talking about the elite in Europe that are just oppressing their people. Mm-hmm. United Kingdom throwing people in jail for Facebook posts. Yeah. And beyond that. Here's what I'm seeing, though. Is I'm seeing more uprising from conservative Europeans than I am seeing from uprising from American conservatives.
Europe, I'm going to interject. Europe was, they started erasing history. Mm-hmm. And the United States picked it up. You erase what you don't want people to know, erase history, so you are doomed to repeat it. Now, in the eyes of Democrats, if you erase things that they lost, then they get a new shot at it.
Right. It's called those who control the past control the future. That's the basic tenet in communism. So everything comes full circle. I don't think Europe is lost, but I do think they need a revolution for each country. And you cannot, in the United States, we're seeing this happening in New York with Mondami and different places. Some people have to learn the hard way. And typical communism, it only works as long as you have somebody else's money. Mm-hmm. Right. So
and then Venezuela, who was lost, and look at the people in the streets. Iran, look at the people in the streets. One of the most beautiful, prosperous, just wealthy in property, in just the mind power, the intelligence of the people. And it was destroyed. They took that shiny object, that golden ram, and they paid the cost.
And we've got to see that as Americans. It's been right in front of our eyes. You're talking about Iran, that in the 70s was paradise. It was Persia. It was not extreme Muslim run. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of freedom. They had a lot of wealth, and they had a lot of lovely things. We see Venezuela. That was the number 5 economy in the world, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then communism came and put it into, let's just say, what would Trump call it? A shithole.
Yeah.
And people, they fled by the millions.
But that's all orchestrated. That, like, Venezuela was completely orchestrated by the EU, Britain mainly, and China. They completely controlled Venezuela, and they set up the whole thing there. Our CIA is the one that put the Shah in power in the 50s. Our CIA then took him out and put Khomeini in. Quick sidebar, the Shah, when they finally threw him out in 1980, I guess it was, he was on a plane to Houston. He brought his family and his CPA and his family. My CPA is the son of the CPA of the Shah. And so I've gotten downloads on stuff that was going in Iran back then that very few people have heard. So, but you go back to Europe, and England has been controlling and pulling the strings because they've controlled the money for so long. And they've always been our enemy. They've never been our friend, never. And the Revolutionary War ended with a negotiated peace. And the terms of that peace is America gets to say it won the war. The British kept all their troops, all their forts here, didn't have to retreat anybody, and then got to do the printing of our money with the first central bank, which, as Stalin said, back to communism, is 90% of communizing a country is a central bank. So they set that up in 1791, right? Yeah, 1791, and had a 20-year charter. And when that expired in 1811, the U.S. voted it down. The vice president actually had to break the tie vote in the Senate. And they immediately went to war with us, and they already had all their troops here. And we would have lost that war. We were losing that war on every front, except they had to pull all the troops to go fight Napoleon. And that's the reason we won the war.
Well, that's a valid point and a great point to make, Tim, that that they were in control and the ones that were manipulating Iran and Venezuela. But the same thing's happening here for the U.S. It's an outside push to get to where we are today.
But
we want to talk about positively moving forward.
Yeah, because
and we will, and that's
all you have to do is watch what happened at Davos. Their central of power and the coordination of thought, which is the beginning of the control grid, is in Davos. And if you watch what happened over just the last 48 hours, Besant, Marco Rubio, and a lot of other guys, and Trump, they have completely taken over that mindset. And I know a bunch of people in all that world, and they're just saying the New World Order is finished. It's what we're seeing is the dying flailing of a dead system right now, the desperate flailing of a dead system, is they're done.
Bounce, yep,
they're done. Claw. In the meantime, you see Canada and Australia going pell-mell into it, now Virginia, and I'm actually encouraged about California because I do know I got to see a lot of the actual votes. California voted the real votes out of California before they manipulated the machines and all this other. Trump won all three cycles in California. Yes. He won the actual vote in California. So that vote is there. We just got to stop the cheat, which brings us back to Christine Bish. Bish, please. That is fighting the battle like I can't even imagine. I know. I saw it.
Well, and you know what? I want to make sure that the audience understands what just happened. Is I just in the middle of that dialogue got bished, bish slapped, and I got a positive reverse Uno card thrown on me. So we're going to go to part 2 because Chris, you've got some other breaking news that we want to talk about. Is that you've now filed a lawsuit on. What is it, Eric?
Well, not a lawsuit, a complaint.
Oh, a complaint. So let's get that straight. So that I don't different. You filed a complaint against Eric Swalwell. And who's Eric Swalwell? Is Fang Fang?
Yep. Mr. Fang Fang himself.
Mr. Fang Fang, who's running for governor. Let's talk about that a minute. And I'm going to give you the spotlight, Chris. Tell us what's going on.
Okay. Well, there's actually been other people that were ahead of me who had discovered a law in California that you had to be a resident of the state for 5 consecutive years in order to qualify to run for governor. Now, what they had discovered is that he is not a resident of California. Now, just going to switch gears for just a second, just like Adam Schiff has not been a resident of California since 2009. Doris Matsui, since 1979. Ami Bera, Representative Ami Bera, hasn't legally been a resident since 2013. And what Eric Swalwell did was he bought this mansion in Washington, D.C. in 2020. He purchased that house as his primary residence so he could get favorable interest rate and down payment. And it also translates to lower insurance, possibly lower property taxes. But what he did was he invalidated his California voter registration. All of them did. And under California law and U.S. law, for any of them to run for the seat that they were elected to, they needed to be a resident of the state where they were running. And you don't have to be registered to vote to run for office, but you do to qualify for the party. And each one of them had continued after surrendering their primary residence from the state of California to either Maryland, Virginia, or Washington, D.C. They lied on their nomination paperwork. Every time they voted was a separate count of voter fraud. Filing the false paperwork is election fraud.
Well,
what we did was we've got the notarized documents that say that they're a resident of this other state, any state other than California. But when they did, that invalidated their voter registration form. So when they filed nomination paperwork claiming they were a resident of California, they won't, because we've got certified documents to prove that they weren't. And they never surrendered their or notified the Secretary of State or the local registrar that they were no longer residents. They used false addresses, and we've got prosecutions going on here in California too. One just finished in San Luis Obispo. The lady just got her ankle bracelet off, running for a local election and using an address where she did not live. We've got another lady that's now looking at 9 felony counts. She was running for mayor. She used an address within the city limits, which was not the address of where she actually lived. So she's right in the middle of being prosecuted. And we have these prosecutions all over California, all over the country. It's just no one's applied them with a federal office since the 2 most recent ones. The most recent one was a RFK Jr. He was kicked off the ballot in New York because the judge there, and that was a civil case, the judge there said that it was setting a dangerous precedence that you could create this false address and run for political office, and wouldn't let him run for president there. But that case was never referred to the Attorney General for the state of New York, and it probably should have been. And I love him and who he's doing and what he's doing, but what he did there was wrong. All of the good can't erase the bad.
Well, what he did was business as usual, it sounds like.
It is, but it's still illegal. And the other precedent case was a young man by the name of Stephen Watkins out of Shawnee County, Kansas. And he was convicted, I believe it was in March of 2022. He took a deal to not go to prison, but he was a sitting member of Congress who registered to vote using a UPS store down the street from him. Then he registered to vote there, and then subsequently voted in a local election, and he was charged while a member of Congress. So we have the precedent necessary to go after those 4. I've got a couple more in mind here in California. So they went after our 5 congressional seats. So we're going to make this like a piggy bag, 5 for 5. And I'll be releasing who the 5th person who has been lying about their address and their legal residence for the purpose of running for office in California.
Well, and let's use a leftist statement to make this perfectly clear. This is not a gray area that we're talking about. This is blatant, in-your-face breaking of the law in order to get what they're after. And we've turned the other cheek for entirely too long. And Miss Christine Bish is not turning her cheek.
So recently, back in November, I was subpoenaed before the grand jury in Maryland on the Adam Schiff case. And while I was there, I didn't get along very well with the Assistant U.S. Attorney, the FBI, or the Office of Inspector General. In fact, I referred to them as the Keystone Cops because I had had enough of their silliness. Because they weren't investigating or confirming the information that was referred to the Department of Justice on Adam Schiff. I'm going to tell you about that case that I submitted, which is just like the one on Eric Swalwell, the one on Doris Matsui, the one on Ami Berra. I only use public records. documents that can be verified, that are available on the internet, that anyone can do. Anyone can find. It's just having the knowledge and the expertise to turn that into evidence in a case, to understand how it applies under mortgage law, election law, federal code. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. And in some cases, I believe possible RICO charges. So when we start, and mail fraud, wire fraud, these are all things that go into it. But the point is, we have the ability to root this out. We see it happening at the local level in every state. Remember, RFK Jr., Kansas, all over California. And it's making sure that our two-tier justice system is ended. And that is my fight against all of these representatives who are supposedly representing us, serving us. There are servants going to Washington, D.C. and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, in the case of Eric Swalwell, $1.2 million to deceive us so he could live there.
So to verify this and make it clear, I did some research this morning. You filed a complaint, duly noted, but there's also been a complaint that's been pushed up to the DOJ. And is that an active investigation at this point?
I believe somebody else did the Eric Swalwell one that's on the investigation. I submitted my complaint to FHFA.
Okay.
Because, that seems to, most people understand that. It's easier to understand, just like with Adam Schiff, is that you lied on your mortgage. You can only have one primary residence. But those mortgages that all of these people took out, claiming their primary residence was any place but California, that's evidence in the election integrity cases. That's what it was always intended to be, because it puts every one of them in a catch-22. On your voter registration, on your nomination paperwork, you claim you are a resident of California, but here is a certified document, a notarized document from DC, Virginia, Maryland that says something different.
Right.
It's a catch-22. They're all felonies, and I don't really care which one you plead to.
Exactly. So do I understand also that Mr. Swalwell, and I say that with tongue in cheek, has filed a lawsuit against the director of the FDHA?
Yeah, I think so.
I read that this morning.
They're all public. You know what? It's public record. And that is the most beautiful thing. That's in the light of day. So when I put these together, I have access to other resources, but I don't ever use those other resources. Because if we do everything in the light of day, where you can get on your smartphone, anybody can get on their smartphone and verify the evidence in a case, it's hard to dismiss it. In fact, you can't dismiss it. You can't disqualify it. It's public record.
Well, let's get if you have all those documents handy, get them to
Dropbox it. Absolutely.
And I will suit that to some media people, and we'll stir it up from that angle as well.
Actually, I think it's all on Scrib now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I redact things because I don't want anyone hurt. I don't want to put their families, their loved ones, the people who work in their homes in danger. So I'll never dox anyone. Right. That's not right. But those public documents, those are there, and they're there for a reason. And
well, the light is what you were talking about. Let's get the light shining on that, because the reason we have communism in America is we've allowed it to exist elsewhere, like China.
Absolutely.
The reason that it's in California is because we allowed it in China, and now those two, California and China, are fixed right now. And the way to break that is to attack it. And the alt media is so much larger now than the quote unquote mainstream media. It's not even funny. And let's get those documents, and let's get that to some of the people that we have in our quiver of media contact. I'm excited. And then let's do that, because what I do like is a good fight. And especially going against. I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it, and I'm ready to fight. And,
all right, well, I'm ready to give you those tools and wear them like a suit of armor. Let's
watch
do
what
it.
happens. We'll get it out there. I'll be on the phone tonight with a lady that will be able to help with that. So,
okay, excellent. I will get you over the files on all 4 of those individuals, and I will tee up the file on the other one, and I will also send you my outline for the case to file here in California on the mail-in ballots. We have that Supreme Court win. So now it's time. We cannot let that wait. My primary is coming up in June. So the sooner we get that
it's
done,
that late. Y'all's is June. Ours is in March. So
okay.
Yeah. So in Texas.
But any other candidates there, if they need this, I think you guys are in pretty good shape in Texas. But California, you know what? Gavin Newsom tried to play that game. Let's do it.
Abbott's a bit of a guy that puts his finger up in the air and just sees which way the wind's blowing. He's not really the.
Doc Pete Chambers is running for governor in Texas, a friend of mine right now, and he's polling very well.
Yeah, so he's a great guy. He just doesn't have the money or the stroke right now. We gotta figure that out. You got to get me in touch with him because I think I can help him.
He's the guy that needs to be there in Texas. He's a powerful former Army Ranger, medical. He was an
MD also. Yeah, he's an MD.
Well, he's a surgeon, combat surgeon. He's a helicopter pilot. He's fought at the border. I mean, this guy is a warrior, and he's running for governor in Texas. So if you're in Texas watching this show right now, remember the name Doc Pete Chambers, and it probably won't show up on the ballot like that. It'll probably show up as Peter Chambers. But remember, Doc Pete Chambers, he's your warrior. He's the one that will continue to fight and make sure that Texas is a free state from now on. Christine Bish, June is the primary. Talk to me. How can people get involved with what you've got going on up there in Sacramento?
Oh, there's all kinds of fun ways. You can always find me on the internet. My website is bishforcongress.com, and it's that same handle on social media, everything LinkedIn, X, Facebook. You can go to bishforcongress.com. And of course, I've spent the last 20 extra years making sure in my real estate business that my cell phone was available on the internet. So you can just Google me for real estate, and you can send me a text, and I'll get you out a link for my website, a place to donate. And if you've got any other interviews out there, I've got a big mouth and lots of time. I can talk to people real effectively over programs like this. And, even though I'm in California, I am taking up the fight. Remember, I'm trying to kill cancer here. So anybody in the country can donate to my race. Remember, Gavin Newsom changed the races in California, the congressional races, because he wanted to punish Texas. So this is a special request from everybody in Texas. Donate $5 to the account and let me take Gavin Newsom down in more than one way.
Yeah. And I do want to verify Christine Bish because I've been there. And again, I don't remember 22, 23. It wasn't 24. It was 22 or 23.
Yep.
And everything she says is real, y'all. I was out with her. We were looking to do some shows and some media promotion and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we met with some people that questioned her, some tough questions, and she got right into the middle of it. And I also went on a showing with her when she was showing a house. So all this stuff is the real deal. And here's what's amazing to me about you, Chris, and about many of the other ones that are rising up, is it's dadgum what it's supposed to be. We, the people, representing and taking the power for ourselves. Yes. I think our Constitution needs rednecked again. We've been entirely too polished and statesmanly, something like that. We need to be rednecked again. And dadgum, good old ways to get up and do what you're capable of doing. And I don't care if the capability is going out and knocking on doors for Chris Bish for Congress. I don't care if it's calling old Tim and saying, hey, I'm a doctorate in finance and I can help this thing. I don't care. Do something.
Everybody can make phone calls. We have ways for you to call from your cell phone to help out here, writing letters, doing that sort of thing. And I have people all the time donate $5 to the campaign, people on fixed incomes who just say, this is all I can afford. And that for someone on a low income, fixed income, that $5 means a whole lot more than
Sure.
some millionaire who can write a maximum donation.
Well, that's
I
the
understand the pain and the sacrifice that comes with that small donation. And
that's the widow's mite of the New Testament.
Yeah,
that's the widow's mite of the New Testament.
Do you have are the Republicans in California? Are they backing you at all?
There are some. I've got a mini Tim running against me, Tim Waltz. Gentleman, he ran against me before. He's kind of a creepy little man, looks like a Muppet. He's trying to run against me. I beat him more than 2-1 in the last race. Then we got some guy who's trying to sell his books. He just jumped in. Other than that, I have, like I said, Tomlinson. She's Northern California, Planned Parenthood. I have Thin Ho. He is a Trump-hating district attorney here in Sacramento who should be looking at Ami Bera and Doris Matsui because it's his jurisdiction. Then we have former state senator Richard Pan, Dr. Death himself, the one that was trying to force those COVID vaccines on newborns. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And a couple other yahoos. We've got Martha Guerrero. She is the mayor of a little town called West Sacramento. And, her thing is she used to be a social worker. So that means her entire career has been about redistributing wealth.
Yeah.
Just to book in the conversation. Yeah.
So, yes, I do have some people running against me, but, even local media, they always mention me. They'll mention the whole field of Democrats that are running because, remember, we don't have an incumbent in this race. So this is one that we're hoping the NRCC takes a look, sees that I am the lead candidate and what I'm already doing for this country. Because while other people are talking about what they're going to do, I'm already doing the job. I am flushing out the fraud and exposing.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what I was asking about is the people, the Republican leadership in DC and in the GOP. Have any of them noticed you yet?
Actually, the president has noticed me because he put out a post on Truth Social on I believe it was July 16th. And what he put on there was talking about Adam Schiff, and he was a criminal and a thief and a liar and all the stuff that, President Trump says. But in that Truth Social post, he put up a sample document. And it was a document from the complaint that I had filed with Director Pulte and Fannie Mae. Mm-hmm. And I know it was my document because I recognized the highlighting that I did with my Adobe program. So he's seen the file, knows my name. And I do know that, Harmeet Dillon knows who I am. She represented me in my lawsuit against Gavin Newsom. So I'm not looking for praise. I don't.
Well, you need support, though.
I need support.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's punish Newsom and these lying thieves out here in California, because his chief of staff was just indicted, Gavin Newsom's, and the current attorney general, he's decided not to run for governor because, this lady was his chief of staff too at one point and ran their campaign. So there is a big bunch of these Democrat fundraisers, politicians, and support group. They're all getting indicted here in California. It's just as funny as could be.
Well, we're running out of time. The Finish This Fight hour has gone over an hour, and I'm okay with that. Tim Dillard, have you got any final thoughts?
No, I'm glad to meet Christine. I want to help. We've got a lot of resources that are currently going in a lot of directions, but I would love to try to help. Give me that information. We can, Glenn, if you can connect us offline. Well,
if you two would stay in the back for the green room after action review.
Okay.
When we go off, we'll have a chat. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, guys, thanks for coming on the show today. I appreciate both of you. Let me finish this out. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. You just met two warriors that are doing something. They're doing what they can do and probably doing more than what they can do. Here's what I've got to tell you. There has never been anything great accomplished from a comfort zone. And if you're comfortable right now with everything that's going on around you, you're probably wrong. And it's time to get up and do what you can do. Be a part of something first if you need to. You don't have to go launch your own thing. Get involved with somebody that's doing something. If that's financially, send $5, 10, 15, $1,000, whatever you can afford, send it. If it's time, go invest some time into somebody that's doing something great. If you've got something great in your heart, you know you're supposed to be doing, and y'all, I've been there, it makes you a little bit uncomfortable, but guess what? Greatness is never done from a comfort zone. It's not done from the couch. Get up and go do something. I will finish with this. We've got a great show coming on next week. I will have the former chairman of the board for Epoch Times going to be on my show, and I'll announce the date on that here pretty quickly. We got some cool stuff coming. I want to keep you in the loop with the Finish This Fight Foundation. We're going to be in Fort Worth, Texas in February, it looks like, taking part in another clinical trial. Joshua Holm is going to get a chance to be a test subject for the take-home model. I'll tell you more about that. We're going to feature our 19-minute mini documentary when it's time, and I thought we were going to do that this Friday. Looks like it's going to be next week, but we'll keep you aware of that. And finally, remember this. Oh, Uncle Glenn loves you. Finish This Fight Hour. I'll be back next week. I see you on the other side.
Forward, halt, left, 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 right. Your left, 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 right. Down, 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 down.
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes.